Hello, welcome back. It's dark. It's dark outside, but only 4 4:30. Let's read some more. So I just like to go to bed and read and relax.
LGM-30 Minutman. LGM-30 Minutman type intercontinental ballistic missile, place of origin United States, service history in service 1962-1969. 1. Minuteman I. 1965-1994. 2. Minuteman II. 1970 present. 3. Minuteman III. Used by United States Air Force production history manufacturing. 4. Unit cost $7,000,000 USD. 4. Specifications mass about 65,000 pound, 29,000 kilograms, Minuteman I. The LGM-30 Minuteman is an American land-based intercontinental ballistic missile, ICBM, in service with the Air Force Global Strike Command. As of 2023, the LGM-30G, version 3, Note 1, is the only land-based ICBM in service in the United States and represents the land leg of U.S. nuclear triad, along with the Trident II submarine-launched ballistic missile, SLBM, and nuclear weapons carried by long-range strategic bombers. Development of the Minuteman began in the mid-1950s when basic research indicated that a solid fuel rocket motor could stand ready to launch for long periods of time, in contrast to liquid-fueled rockets that required fueling before launch and so might be destroyed in a surprise attack. The missile was named for the colonial Minuteman of the American Revolutionary War, who could be ready to fight on short notice. 8. 9. The Minuteman entered service in 1962 as a deterrence weapon that could hit Soviet cities with a second strike and counter-value counterattack if the US was attacked. However, the development of the United States Navy, USN, UGM-27 Polaris, which addressed the same role, allowed the Air Force to modify the Minuteman, boosting its accuracy enough to attack hardened military targets including Soviet missile silos. The Minuteman II entered service in 1965 with a host of upgrades to improve its accuracy and survivability in the face of an anti-ballistic missile, ABM, system the Soviets were known to be developing. In 1970, the Minuteman III became the first deployed ICBM with multiple independently targetable entry vehicles, MIRV-3 smaller warheads that improved the missile's ability to strike targets defended beacons. 10. They were initially armed with the W-62 warhead with a yield of 170 kilotons. By the 1970s, 1,000 Minuteman missiles were deployed. This force has shrunk to 400 Minuteman III missiles as of September 2017. 11. Deployed in missile silos around Malmstrom AFB, Montana, Minot AFB, North Dakota, and Francis E. Warren AFB, Wyoming. 12. The about 73,000 pound, 33,000 kilograms, Minuteman II. 79,432 pound, 36,030 kilograms, Minuteman 3, 4. Length 53 foot 8 in, 16.36 m, Minuteman I/O. 55 feet 11 in, 17.04 m, Minuteman I/B. 57 feet 7 in, 17.55 m, Minuteman 2. 59.9 feet, 18.3 m, Minuteman 3, 4. Diameter 5 foot 6 in, 1.68 m, 1 stage, warhead Minuteman I, W59, retired. Minuteman I and 2, W56, retired. Minuteman 3, W62, retired. W78, active, or W87, active. Detonation mechanism: airburst or contact, surface, engine 3-stage solid fuel rocket engines. First stage, vehicle Tu-122, M55, 178,000 lbf 790 kN. Second stage, Aerojet General SR-19 H-1, 60,181 lbf, 267.70 kN. Third stage, Aerojet /Vehicle SR-73H/TC-1, 34,170 lbf, 152.0 kN. First stage, 202,600 pound, 91,900 kilograms, Minuteman 3, 4. Propellant: ammonium perchlorate composite propellant. Minuteman 3 will be progressively replaced by the new ground-based strategic deterrent, GBSD, ICBM, to be built by Northrop Grumman, 13, beginning in 2030. 14. History. Edward Hall and solid fuels. Minuteman owes its existence largely to Air Force Colonel Edward N. Hall, who in 1956 was given charge of the Solid Fuel Propulsion Division of General Bernard Schriever's Western Development Division, created to lead development of the SM-65 Atlas and HGM-25 Titan ICBMs. Solid fuels were already commonly used in short-range rockets. Hall's superiors were interested in short and medium-range missiles with solids, especially for use in Europe, where the fast reaction time was an advantage for weapons that might be attacked by Soviet aircraft. But Hall was convinced that they could be used for a true ICBM with a 5,500 nautical mile, 10,200 kilometers, 6,300 mi, range. 15, 152 to achieve the required energy. That year Hall began funding research at Boeing and Thiokol into the use of ammonium perchlorate composite propellant. Adapting a concept developed in the UK, they cast the fuel into large cylinders with a star-shaped hole running along the inner axis. This allowed the fuel to burn along the entire length of the cylinder, rather than just the end as in earlier designs. The increased burn rate meant increased thrust. This also meant the heat was spread across the entire motor, instead of the end, and because it burned from the inside out, it did not reach the wall of the missile fuselage until the fuel was finished burning. In comparison, older designs burned primarily from one end to the other, meaning that at any instant one small section of the fuselage was being subjected to extreme loads and temperatures. 16. Guidance of an ICBM is based not only on the direction the missile is traveling but the precise instant that thrust is cut off. Too much thrust and the warhead will overshoot its target, too little and it will fall short. Solids are normally very hard to predict in terms of burn time and their instantaneous thrust during the burn, which made them questionable for the sort of accuracy required to hit a target at intercontinental range. While this initially appeared to be an insurmountable problem, it ended up being solved in an almost trivial fashion. A series of ports were added inside the rocket nozzle that were opened when the guidance Operational range about 5,500 mi, 8,900 kilometers. Minutman I, 5, 10,200 kilometer, 6,300 mi. Minutman II, 6, 14,000 kilometer, 8,700 mi. Minutman III, 7, flight ceiling 700 mi, 3,700,000 foot, 1,100 kilometer, 4, maximum speed Mach 23, 17,500 miles per hour, 28,200 kilometers per hour, 7.83 kilometers per second. Terminal phase, 4, guidance system inertial NS50 accuracy. Minutman I, 1.1 mi, 2.0 kilometers. SEP initially, then 0.6 mi, 1.1 kilometer, SEP. Minutman II, 0.26 mi, 0.48 kilometer, SEP. Minutman III, 800 foot, 240 m, SEP. Launch platform missile silo. Minutman III launched from Vandenberg Space Force Base in California on the 9th of February 2023. Systems called for engine cut-off. The reduction in pressure was so abrupt that the remaining fuel broke up and ballooed the nozzle without contributing to the thrust. 16. The first to use these developments was the U.S. Navy. It had been involved in a joint program with the U.S. Army to develop the liquid-fueled LGM-30 Jupiter, but had always been skeptical of the system. The Navy felt that liquid fuels were too dangerous to use on board ships, especially submarines. Rapid success in the solids development program, combined with Edward Teller's promise of much lighter nuclear warheads during Project Novska, led the Navy to abandon Jupiter and begin development of their own solid-fuel missile. Aerojets work with hallways adapted for their LGM-27 Polaris starting in December 1956. 17. Missile farm concept. The U.S. Air Force saw no pressing need for a solid-fuel ICBM. Development of the SM-65 Atlas and SM-68 Titanic was progressing, and storable liquids were being developed that would allow missiles to be left in a ready-to-shoot form for extended periods. Hall saw solid fuels not only as a way to improve launch times or safety, but part of the radical plan to greatly reduce the cost of ICBMs so that thousands could be built. He was aware that new computerized assembly lines would allow continual production, and that similar equipment would allow a small team to oversee operations for dozens or hundreds of missiles. A solid fuel design would be simpler to build, and easier to maintain. 15. 153 Hall's ultimate plan was to build a number of integrated missile farms that included factories, missile silos, transport and recycling. Each farm would support between 1,000 and 1,500 missiles being produced in a continuous low-rate cycle. Systems in a missile would detect failures, at which point it would be removed and recycled, while a newly built missile would take its place. 15. 153 The missile design was based purely on lowest possible cost, reducing its size and complexity because the basis of weapons merit was its low cost per completed mission. All other factors, accuracy, vulnerability, and reliability, were secondary. 15. 154 Hall's plan did not go unopposed, especially by the more established names in the ICBM field. Rammer Aldridge pressed for a system with higher accuracy, but Hall countered that the missile's role was to attack Soviet cities, and that a force which provides numerical superiority over the enemy will provide a much stronger deterrent than a numerically inferior force of greater accuracy. 15. 154 Hall was known for Minutman I missile's friction with others, and in 1958 Shriver removed him from the Minutman project, sending him to the UK to oversee deployment of the Thor IRBM. 15. 152 on his return to the US in 1959, Hall retired from the Air Force, but received his second Legion of Merit in 1960 for his work on solid fuels. 16. Although he was removed from the Minuteman project, Hall's work on cost reduction had already produced a new design of 71 inches, 1.8 m, diameter, much smaller than the Atlas and Titan at 120 inches, 3.0 m, which meant smaller and cheaper silos. Hall's goal of dramatic cost reduction was a success, although many offers